Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Yunda Dewiati. I'm from English department. And thank you very much for supervisor, my beloved lecturer, Miss Siti Maria Ulfa MPD as the first supervisor and Mr. Hendra Sudarso MPD as the second supervisor. And I'm sorry I cannot join in offline meeting. In this nice an opportunity, I would like to present about my proposal. The title is Direct Reading Activity Using by Teacher in English Language Teaching. The first is Chapter 1, there are background of study. There are still many students who have not been able to understand the importance of reading skill and use perfect language. So the teacher will use good strategy to get according with the student characteristic. When the student and teacher get suitable with the student character, student will be quick to understand about the material. There are many strategies used by teacher in teaching English reading, and not all of students like reading. There are usually show situation then when they found a reading text. Very few of the students like reading text, although from students who like it, they still cannot determine the topic and main idea of the text. Besides this, they are not interested and ignore the reading lesson. This research, I will researching about the level of understanding of student in reading the text and understanding the content of the text. So, in direct reading activity, the teacher will guide the student during teaching and learning activity. And the second is research question. How the implementation of direct reading activity, and the second, how the student responds toward the use direct reading activity. And the object of the study at 7th grade student of Junior High School of Nurul Kokop. And the next is significance of the study. Theoretically, this study will contribute the reader as a reference source, knowledge and information. And in practically, the result of this study can use by English teacher in implementing this strategy is improving student reading comprehension, make student in reading class more interesting, active, and give students more opportunities to participate and has active role. And the next is definition of key term. The first is reading skill. Reading skill is a high practice active which form a component of wide range in different activities and which serve many different purposes. Reading is the process of mind to get knowledge and information by understanding of all of aspects of reading text with related reader experience. And the next is direct reading activity. Direct reading activity are strategies that provide introductory support to students before, during, and after reading. And the student will help by teacher increasing their knowledge and understanding the material by showing some model to make them comprehend in reading activity. And the next is chapter 2. There are review of related literature. The first is definition of reading strategy. Reading is the process of mind to get knowledge and information by understanding all the aspect of reading text with related reader experience and reader background knowledge. There are according by Amrullah Bidarti and Tasnin 2014. And the second, teaching reading strategy. Teaching reading strategy is explanation about thing or material that do by the teacher to someone to make them understanding. And the next is reading technique. There are 5 points. The first is previewing. Previewing is a process of understanding information quickly. Previewing is to get general idea about the text. And next, skimming. Skimming is identify the main idea of the text quickly, and when we are seeking specific information rather than reading for comprehension. Skimming is in this technique can help students to find main idea quickly. And the next is scanning. Scanning is the last technique of reading used when looking up a word in dictionary or long text. And the next is intensive reading. Intensive reading is the activity that need a guide to make the student understand the text, which is the reading goal is not only understanding the text but also knowing more detail about the word and produce. And the next is extensive reading. Extensive reading is reading refer to reading which student in out class. In the next is type of reading text. The first is narrative text. Narrative text is about last story, and expository text is a fake story. And the next is persuasive text, about story non-fiction. And technical text is teks yang berisi tentang arahan atau instruksi. Next, direct reading activity. The direct reading activity is direct reading thinking activity, attempt to equip a reader with the ability to determine the purpose of reading, the ability to extract, comprehend, and assimilate information, the ability to make prediction, to examine reading material beside on purpose of reading, the ability to pass judgment, and finally the ability to make decision based upon information gleaned from a reading. And the next is research design. In research design, I will take descriptive qualitative by analysis the phenomenon. The aim of this research is to describe a natural situation without giving manipulation or special treatment to the subject of research. The next is chapter 3. There are research methods. The first, research setting and subject. For the setting research, I will take in junior high school in Katol Timur, Kecamatan Kokop. The subject is in reading comprehension. And the next is technique of data collection. The first is observation. I will observe the student and teacher in junior high school of Nurus Saleh. And the next is interview. In interview is question and answer to some student, and the 7th class is to check the data and ensure that the data is really valid. And the next is documentation. I will investigate, collect the data, then analyze the information, and finally write the report. And the next is technique of data analysis, collection and write-up of finding while interview collected earlier, writing memos that may ultimately be included as narrative in the final report, and organizing the structure of the final report. And the next is data reduction. With the data reduction, we'll given information from the student who involved in application of direct reading activity in teaching reading, and about the responses toward the application of direct reading activity in teaching reading. And the next is data analysis data. Is to analyze the data and will make it easier to understand what is happening and plan the next work beside on what has been done. Understood. Okay, thank you for your attention and forgive me for many mistakes. I think that's all for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.